Out with the old, in with the new.
Necronomicon is coming.
So, as you guys might get it by now, I get a lot of video ideas from different comments and emails that I get from, not to make a PBS plug line, but from viewers like you. Recently, I got a question about how difficult it was to maintain the moon of purification prior to a gate walking, and that got my mind thinking this morning while I had the time. So, in terms of the Necronomicon tradition, when you have the Moon of Purification, that means you are supposed to abstain from things like drug, alcohol, sex, any addictions that you have, any kind of negative tendencies that you know that you do, you're supposed to stop doing them. And I know that this is difficult for some people, but the main idea in any purification sense is to try to eliminate, but, but if you can't eliminate a behavior 100%, then at least to knock it down a peg is better than nothing. So, for example, let's say somebody is a pack-a-day smoker, and they want to go through something like the gate walking, or they want to do some kind of magical purification. With having a ritual, setting an intention, and then saying, okay, for the next week I'm going to cut back or eliminate blank. Like I said, if somebody is a pack-a-day smoker, they might be able to dumb it down to half a pack. If somebody, let's say, I'm trying to think of other negative behaviors. Like, let's say you're trying to eliminate meat as part of a purification sense. You could maybe go for the first week where you only have something with meat, like one meal a day. Cut back as much as you can. The point of a purification is to bring up a magical and mental catharsis through which you transform. And by that, I mean, like, take anybody with an addictive behavior. If somebody is a smoker and they want a cigarette and they can't have one, or they don't have a pack, or they're trying to quit, they're going to get agitated. They're going to think, I need a cigarette, or I need some nicotine gum, or I need the patch, or whatever. Let's say this person doesn't have access to a patch, doesn't have access to nicotine gum, and doesn't have access to a pack of cigarettes. Well, they're going to have to fend on their own, and their body chemistry is going to have to change back to what it was to compensate for the fact that you don't have that substance in your system, or you're not getting that thing that you're so used to getting. There's many different types of purifications and fasts that you can do. It doesn't only have to do with substances that you take in, that you imbibe. You could do things like a social fast, a technology fast, a convenience fast. And what I mean by those is a technology fast would be, okay, for an entire week, how about you don't use Facebook? Or for an entire week, how about you don't even have your cell phone on you? Or, maybe you check it once or twice a day rather than having it in your pocket all the time, always pulling it out when you're in the line at the grocery store or whatever. Once again, this is to eliminate different habits that we have that have kind of become comforts for us to generate a catharsis through which we can make changes in our lives. Now, to go a little bit deeper into the catharsis thing, when you have any behavior that you're used to doing and you don't end up getting around to it, your brain subconsciously is going to be screaming, hey, I needed that. I needed that meat. I needed that cigarette. I needed that drink. But your higher self, or your waking consciousness, the one that's in control, is trying to fight back the subconscious nagging for that substance. So essentially, it's your super ego fighting your id, saying, hey, you really don't need that smoke. You really don't need that cocktail. You really don't need your hamburger, your eggs, your bacon, your sausage. And it is a little bit uncomfortable, so you're going to have to find ways to eliminate that. And so with any purification that you undertake with any magical tradition, maybe for your own self, or for the Necronomicon as an example. I think that's the first time I messed up that word in all of my videos. Anyway, you have to find a replacement behavior for it. So For example, somebody that, maybe they don't smoke in their house and every couple of hours they go outside to have a cigarette. Well, instead, when you have that craving, you could transform that, and instead of going outside and, grabbing your pack and your lighter, you would go outside and go for a walk. Or instead of, instead of a cocktail, you could have some tea. Trying to find some examples, but of course I can only think of my own personal experience. Now, the whole idea, like I said, about this is to generate that kind of uncomfortable feeling. Purifications aren't meant to be great. It's not meant to be a switch in your diet and all of a sudden you're so super happy that you're having nothing but smoothies for every meal because you're going through some kind of cleanse or whatever. It's not, you might enjoy it. You're like, hey, I'm really happy I haven't touched my phone in 3 days. Or you could be like, Jesus, I want to be able to just stand in line and not twiddle my thumbs and do something productive. But all of these negative behaviors, all these compulsive things that end up happening with us through our conditioning and through what we do every day to feel comfortable or to let the time go by, really doesn't, it distracts us from the beauty of the world around us. Rather than, let's use a couple of examples that I have. Instead of going outside for a smoke, you could go outside for a walk. You could walk around in nature. I'm pretty sure walking around in nature is a hell of a lot better than standing outside with a cigarette for 5 minutes. You're in the line of the grocery store, and rather than you and whoever is with you being on their cell phone while you're waiting in line, you can actually engage in conversation. What a shocker! So these things are all about making you better and finding different ways to eliminate negative behaviors. When you are transforming yourself or when you're trying to change a behavior, even an emotional pattern, and you have kind of crutches such as nicotine or, basically anything that can distract you from working on your issues, when you get rid of that distraction, your issues are right there, and of course you have to face them. Now, if you try to work on your issues while you're still using a crutch, then you are not going to 100% eliminate that issue, because a lot of negative behaviors that we get into are there to hide or cover up or make those issues that we have feel a little bit better. But you can't work on what's underneath unless you get rid of the layers on top. So you have to get rid of the negative and compulsive behaviors and any of these negative substances or negative behaviors that you do to really work on those core issues. And that's what purification is all about. So I hope this kind of cleared it up for everybody with what purification is. Remember, if you can't cut a substance or a behavior out 100%, that's fine. But the point is, you have to cut back, because even the little amount that you cut back is going to present a catharsis through which you can change. Now, free flowing. Let's just keep going with it. Now, with the gate walking, for example. If you are eliminating a negative behavior such as an addiction while you are trying to do that month of purification, then that really sets the stage for, wow, I have this issue and I can't believe it's making me this uncomfortable. That's something I want to change, and that's what the gate walking is all about, is getting rid of all the societal junk that has been put on you and that you've developed with your time here on Earth, and really bringing your astral light body or your soul outwards so you can be the real expression of you. I don't really think anybody wants to go around every day having those different crutches, panicking when their cell phone's not in their pocket, freaking out and getting angry when they don't have a cigarette to use, or any of those things. I'm pretty sure people don't want those, and that is the point of purification. It's to get us back to our original state before we develop these behaviors to really hide who we really are. So I hope this helps, and I'll see if I can come up with anything else today or maybe in the next couple of days. I hope that this helps people to understand more about purification, both in regards to any magical practice, any regular practice that doesn't even have to have a magical basis, or in regards to the Necronomicon. So hope this helps. Questions, comments, complaints, concerns, issues, drop me a line at priestofthenecro@gmail.com or put them in the comments below. Good hunting.